Newly released court documents related to the Jeffrey Epstein case offer the most in-depth and eye-opening look at his inner circle to date. Here's what to know about the documents released so far. When Jeffrey Epstein was found dead in his jail cell on August 10, 2019, his death served as a shocking, conspiracy-inspiring capstone to an already disturbing set of criminal charges. Epstein, a prominent financier, philanthropist, and supposed math savant, had connections spanning the realms of politics, economics, and finance.
Come on in, go inside.
He created financial portfolios for the ultra-rich and hobnobbed with elites, including Donald Trump and Bill Clinton, at various soirees, owned properties across the world, and was accused of directing an underage sex trafficking ring involving up to 80 young women that involved daily massages and sexual acts. Until very recently, nearly 950 pages of court documents related to Epstein were kept partially redacted. Now, the floodgates have opened, and many of those documents, commonly known as the Epstein list, despite it not being a list of his clients or otherwise, are now viewable online. Ultimately, there's not a lot of new, substantial information. Many of the names mentioned in the so-called list are not accused of wrongdoing, but their inclusion is still pretty eye-opening. Before the current 950 pages of documents regarding Jeffrey Epstein's court proceedings were unsealed, we already knew that former President Bill Clinton had dealings with a disgraced financier. As the BBC outlines, Clinton used Epstein's private jet to travel and make trips to the African continent in the early days of the Clinton Foundation following the end of Clinton's presidential term. The Clinton Foundation website says that the organization launched its very first initiative in 2002 to help African and Caribbean countries develop treatment plans for those suffering from HIV/AIDS. As the National Review reports, Clinton used Epstein's plane 26 times in total. That's all well and good, but why use Epstein's plane, dubbed the Lolita Express by media outlets? Epstein reportedly not only used it to fly prominent people around, but also used it for his alleged illicit sexual activities. Such information takes on an unsavory light, given Bill Clinton's well-known sexual history with his former intern Monica Lewinsky, who was more than half his age at the time of their relationship.
I misled people, including even my wife. I deeply regret that.
While the BBC points out that there's no evidence that Clinton engaged in any wrongdoing related to Epstein's activities, new information in the unsealed documents suggests that the accused sex trafficker knew about Clinton's proclivities. Notably, one of Epstein's accusers, Joanna Sjoberg, cited Epstein telling her that, quote, "Clinton likes them young," referring to girls. The next installment of unsealed court information regarding Jeffrey Epstein's criminal case was previously reported in 2019 and involves a truly bizarre incident reported once again by Epstein accuser Joanna Sjoberg. As the Independent reports, and the original deposition transcription details in full, Sjoberg said that Epstein's partner, Ghislaine Maxwell, summoned her upstairs one day at Epstein's townhouse on East 71st Street, New York City. There, Maxwell supposedly retrieved a puppet of Prince Andrew from a closet and put it on the lap of another Epstein accuser, Virginia Giuffre. The real Prince Andrew was purportedly there too. As some kind of joke, Sjoberg said she was told to sit on the royal's lap next to Virginia and the puppet. Someone allegedly put the puppet's hand on Virginia's breast, and as the story goes, Prince Andrew mirrored the action by putting his hand on Sjoberg's breast. Prince Andrew stepped down from public life following the fallout from allegations of his misconduct towards Giuffre.
But you were staying at the house of
Yes.
a convicted sex offender.
It was a convenient place to stay.
Andrew has always denied these allegations and also claimed to have never met Giuffre to begin with, despite the existence of pictures of the two of them together. In 2019, Andrew gave an extensive interview to the BBC denying Giuffre's claims.
She described dancing with you
No.
and you profusely sweating.
Andrew's interview was not well received, to put it mildly, and his answers were widely mocked.
I have a peculiar medical condition, which is that I don't sweat.
In the newly unsealed documents regarding Jeffrey Epstein's court case is an email he wrote on January 12, 2015, to partner and convicted sex trafficker Ghislaine Maxwell. You can issue a reward to any of Virginia's friends, acquaintances, family that come forward and help prove her allegations are false. The strongest is the Clinton dinner, and the new version in the Virgin Islands that Stephen Hawking participated in an underage orgy. The gist is this. Epstein was willing to pay accuser Virginia Giuffre's friends for proof that renowned English physicist Hawking was not involved in an alleged underage orgy in the Virgin Islands. In other words, Epstein wanted to disprove this story. It's unclear what he meant by Clinton dinner. The only confirmable claim implied in Epstein's email is that, yes, Hawking attended a conference in the Caribbean in 2006 hosted by the financier, as The Independent reported in 2015. A Telegraph article from the same year further shows Hawking on Epstein's island looking out of a porthole on a submarine. Notably, accuser Virginia Giuffre filed her civil lawsuit against Maxwell in 2015, the same year as these two reports, as well as Epstein's email to Maxwell about Hawking. Where the orgy story came from and why Epstein would seek to refute it is unclear. Before his death in 2009, Michael Jackson had long endured the rumor mill regarding his allegedly inappropriate relationships with children. In 2005, the New York Times reported that Jackson was acquitted of molestation charges against a 13-year-old boy and cancer survivor. Before that and afterward, plenty of people accused Jackson of being a chronic child molester, including his former maid. Truth of such allegations aside, all this is to say, if anyone looks bad having anything to do with Jeffrey Epstein, it's Jackson. Even though the newly disclosed court documents mention Jackson, they only do that, mention him. As the report says and the Telegraph describes, this information once again comes from Joanna Schoberg, who reported being coerced into giving frequent massages to Epstein that included sex. In a conversation that also name-dropped world-famous magician David Copperfield, Schoberg was asked whether or not she'd met anybody famous when she was with Epstein. Michael Jackson was the first person off the top of her head, and she said she met him at one of Epstein's houses in Palm Beach, but twice says that she never gave him a massage. If you or anyone you know has been a victim of sexual assault, help is available. Visit the Rape, Abuse, and Incest National Network website or contact RAIN's National Helpline at 1-800-656-HOPE. 4673.